Okay, so I've been asked a million times at this point to cover an anime that has recently came out called Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. I've been told that the show is absolutely heartwarming, that it is hilarious beyond belief, that it has one of the best endings, and that it's worth every moment of my time. They bring up how well developed and likable the main characters are, how much the relationship develops in rather realistic ways, even if there are some unrealistic things like powers of some kind. They say it's fluffy, respectable of things like consent and boundaries, with no weird power dynamics that have choked the main genre of this series for so many years. It's feel good, going beyond the normalized limitations of will they won't they, and actually growing the relationship as a romantic one from the get-go, which in anime in general is going to be super refreshing to see based on how they handle it for many people. The sound and voice cast apparently do a really good job as well, with a lot of people complimenting the songs for the intro and the outro specifically. People have compared the show's comedy to Yamada's First Time, but 100 times better when trying to convince me to watch it, which I thought Yamada's First Time is hilarious, so that strategy honestly isn't too bad if we're being completely honest here. I watched it being Yamada's first time, many years ago at this point, and laughed far more than I have when watching most anime with a comedy tag. Prison School may take the crown as the funniest, with Hello My Name is Sakamoto somewhere in there too, but they are all bangers that I really grew to love. See, the issue isn't about the positive emotions that it may elicit. I will never argue that a show I've never watched would make me laugh, smile, cry, get excited, jump for joy, or let anger take over because I have no experience with it in order to make that claim. The issue is one that I may bring up again in the future. I just don't want to have to watch two dudes lock lips, flirt, and be romantically involved. It has nothing to do with the show's quality and everything to do with me. I'm just not interested in it, especially as the main point of the series. Two guys, one being a virgin, falling for each other as hijinks ensue and comedy occurs. Heard there may be butt stuff in it too, and I definitely would rather refrain from seeing that. People will make claims like that unsubstantiated that don't like the BL genre, so I want to make it clear that I don't know for sure. I'm just going off of what I've been told when discussing the show with many in the anime community, and you definitely should do your own research, especially in regards to things like this. You just ain't gonna catch me dead searching this up, so do so at your own discretion. Whatever you see is your responsibility and isn't on me. Good luck. I'm sure that description is for someone, don't get it twisted, but homie, I hate to tell you, it sure ain't for me. I'd rather watch Chio School Road, an anime I know I actually didn't enjoy, than put myself through a love story involving a couple of dudes. I just wanted to make it clear that my decision not to review it, even though y'all want me to, isn't me saying that the show sucks without explicitly saying that. It's just not for me, and that's totally fine. I do want to bring up some of the criticisms I have heard in regards to the show though, so I can still help you make a decision before you decide whether or not to watch it. If you read the manga and thought it was a 10 out of 10, I've heard from many people that this just doesn't hold up. So going with those preconceived notions based on how you felt about the reading may just spoil how it feels to actually watch it. Speaking of watching it, the animation is said to have some really steep declines as well. Some things like backgrounds can be absolutely gorgeous at times, but the actual animation itself has both its good and its really bad moments. If that kind of inconsistency bothers you, which if you're a big time anime fan you should be used to it, then at least I felt like it was important to bring up. The pacing is apparently pretty wonky too, as well as the screen time delegated to each character being extremely biased for the main couple, which would be fine if there wasn't a side couple that gets so little screen time that people have said that they feel like they aren't important at all, even though they are made out to be. If it's as bad as I've been told, and that couple is as important in the manga as people say, then it's a dang shame that needs taken into consideration as well. If you don't vibe with the main couple for some reason, there isn't much else to convince you to stay, it seems, which again is another reason why I don't want to waste time giving it a shot. Now whether this is a positive or negative is entirely up to interpretation and changes constantly for many people, but the show not only ends its first season with 12 episodes, but ends entirely with the plot completely wrapped up. up, even if people say it didn't give each plot point the justice it deserves. Given the genre, it's most likely due to budget constraints, same with the animation, since many people like me would get turned off by a love story involving two men, even if it is largely played off with comedy. It's just not for everyone, and that's okay. But it does suck that, due to that, it causes harm to the medium in general. So, execution aside, you don't have to be afraid that there will never be an ending. You can sit down and binge the entire series and be done with it forever. Or if you like it, it won't take much time to rewatch in the future. A glass half full, half empty type of situation. 12 episode seasons, especially with anime, come with a lot of risks. Risks of it never being completed like Gangsta. Risks of it having terrible pacing and being completely rushed. And risks of the budget showing as it seemingly does here. Which again is also a problem with BO in general, but I'll save that for another time if I ever decide to discuss it. With those risks either completely irrelevant due to the series actually being finished, or unimportant since if the pacing or animation issues bother you, it's totally okay, and it shouldn't be stigmatized to just turn it off and drop it entirely. So just do that if you try it out and decide that you hate it. No harm done. Which is one of the only possible reasons of me ever considering maybe watching it in the future, even though the chance of it is slim. I'm not gonna write it off completely, since anything is possible. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry about this guys, I know a lot of y'all wanted me to cover it, but I'm just not interested. Not right now anyway. Maybe my feelings will change in the future, but I wouldn't put any money on it, so don't hold your breath. Recommend me something that isn't super gay to watch and I'll keep it in mind for review in the future. And just because I don't want to watch this, doesn't mean you shouldn't either. Form your own opinion at the end of the day. It's very loved by a lot of people, and given the amount of terrible shows that would have the yaoi tag, this seems, from everything I've heard, read, and seen, to be not only one of the better ones, but a step in the right direction, and I want to make sure to give them credit for that. I am also unsure if it is dubbed, or if not, then if it will be dubbed in the future. It's a toss-up nowadays on whether something will get dubbing, and I have no idea what contributes to something having a higher chance of that, so I wanted to make it known that I'm pretty clueless in that regard, since I know dubbing is a make it or break it for a great deal of anime fans. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say. For more news, reviews, and whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed. Have a great day. Thank you.